Dun 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 doo 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 doo. Don't let this outfit fool you. I may be wearing gray and blue, two colors that actually do go together, but emotionally don't really convey the best of emotions. But do not let that fool you. I'm actually feeling quite happy right now. And I have a lot of reasons to. Oh my God. Where do you start? You know what, as per usual, whether it's a state of my being addressed or not. And hold on. Man, why is it? Seriously, one of the dumbest updates they had to the camera was like having that line that appears in the center to show you're not, centered. Like, because I constantly stare at that line, my gosh. But that's fine. That's nothing in the grand scheme of things because that does not affect the overall emotion that I'm feeling right now. Because, again, this is the state of my being address. And if you don't know what that is, it's something I do every 100 days. I do that because, there have been times where, I talked about how I felt before. I've shared my thoughts on many things. But I've never really taken the time to elaborate on that. I never really taken enough time to tell you all how I really am feeling. So this is sort of my way to, convey that to you all. And the best way to do that is go over the span of 100 days because, if I did this every less than 100 days, it really wouldn't seem all that significant and special. If I did it for, say, once a year, that would just be too long. Every 100 days, that's a fair amount. It's definitely a big amount, but fair. And my gosh, I've been making videos for 2,700 days now. That's insane. Well, I have a whole lot to talk about today, so I guess I better get started with my low and my high in my act of kindness. Foremost, my low is simply that it's pretty cold and rainy outside. Again, I'm probably wearing the most appropriate outfit to convey what the weather looks like. But again, don't let that fool you. I'm feeling okay. If I say it too much, if I keep saying I'm okay too much, someone's going to wonder, okay, something's wrong. No, for real though. I am feeling ridiculously happy after yesterday, which is my high. Pretty much all of yesterday was my high. And my act of kindness was, I was supporting local in several ways. But let's start with yesterday's episode of Hot Ones, which, Aaron Paul was on Hot Ones. Which, even though it was his first time on the show, it was his first time in the studio. As he saw I forgot that he was in the background of that episode. Isa Gonzalez, she was on, Aaron Paul was actually in the back watching. So Sean's first question was, what's your perspective, watching the episode from afar, but actually being in front of the wings right now? Which, technically he probably could have asked that to several people. I'm specifically thinking of, was Mila Kunis in Ashton Kutcher's episode? No, she wasn't. Huh. I suppose this was the first time that was ever asked. Okay. They talked about how when he first started out as an actor, every failed pilot that he auditioned for, You know, that happened, especially for a show called The Class that he thought was going to be really good, but it wasn't. He talked about his favorite Bryan Cranston prank that Bryan Cranston ever played on him, which was which was actually really funny. Bryan Cranston walks up to Aaron Paul. He like gives him a hug, like an emotional big hug, and he says, "I'm really sorry." And then Aaron Paul's like, "Wait, why? Did you not read the script?" "No." "Oh, well, good luck with it then." So Aaron Paul reads the script, right? And nothing happens to his character. He doesn't die or anything. But that's funny. I mean, actually, Bryan Cranston is actually Aaron Paul's son's godfather. Like, seriously, it takes a lot of love, trust, and respect for something like that. You know what, after hearing that alone, like, I want to meet Bryan Cranston in person. I mean, pretty much everybody does. Everyone says Bryan Cranston's like the nicest person ever. Let's see. He talks about, Sean asked about what scenes do you dread doing the most, and usually it's scenes that depict him getting, beat up and tortured. They talked about shooting the action sequences in the movie Need for Speed, which, for, the most part, they were all practical. Which, granted, Need for Speed, not a very good movie. But credit where credit's due, a lot of the scenes in that movie really are real. No CGI or nothing. They're all practical. It's pretty cool. He talked about the gritty dramas that left an impact on him, which was Stand By Me, which is a great movie, it is. Sean asked about, since he's from Idaho, what is the ice cream potato? This is real. Sorry, I'm excited my nose. The ice cream potato. That is. You know what? Idaho does have potatoes, so I guess it makes sense. They talked about when he was on The Price is Right back in 2000 and how he overbid something by $132. They talked about how when he was a kid, he'd have concerts in his living room, and I think he does that even now, which is awesome. And for the last dab, Sean decided to ask Aaron to break down several Bryan Cranston quotes. Specifically, if in a show or movie, keep in mind, this one I am paraphrasing, if a character cries easily, the audience won't have a need to do so. However, if he tries not to cry, then the audience will want to cry. They talked about how it was true that all the meth on the show Breaking Bad was in fact candy, which Aaron Paul definitely stole a lot of. The candy, I mean. And also, love of acting is a relationship. It's not a fling, but it's supposed to be for the rest of your life. You know what? That's actually pretty profound. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong. Not to sound pretentious. Take the videos I make every day, for example. You know, actually, that's it. I really want to blast through this because I need to actually get my notes up for something else. Hold on. You know, take the videos I make every day, for example. You know, sure, there are some times where I probably woke up thinking, I don't want to do this, or, you know, I'm not really feeling it, but I love to do this. I mean, again, I've been doing this for 2,700 days. At this point, I absolutely love doing this. Okay, so, hold on, let me look at one thing. So, let's talk about that now. Folks, where do I begin with this? It's not very often that when you are a fan of something, whether it's a series or a series of books, series of films, a TV series, whatever, it's not often that you're a fan of something that you ultimately think, there's something about that I want to see. And you actually see that thing you want to see come to fruition. And yesterday was that experience. If you couldn't tell from the opening of this video, yesterday I saw Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. And okay, I suppose I do need to give a little backstory on what I think of the Mission Impossible movies. Full stop, I never saw the first 4 movies. I mean, the first 3 movies came out when I was too young to see them in theaters because, I think they were PG-13 and I was obviously not 13. Ghost Protocol comes out, which was directed by Brad Bird, who is actually known for directing The Iron Giant and The Incredibles, and Ratatouille. And it got like crazy good reviews. I didn't see it, but I heard about it. So I'm like, you know what? For the next one that comes out in theaters, I'll see it. Then Rogue Nation comes out, phenomenal. Fallout comes out, phenomenal. Dead Reckoning, which was 2 years ago. Because originally the title for this movie was Dead Reckoning Part 2. So, after Dead Reckoning, which again was phenomenal, it was just a matter of when the next one was going to come out. And then the writer's strike happens. Full stop, we were supposed to get this movie at least 6 months ago. It was actually supposed to be in the summer of last year. But, we got the writer's strike that happened, in 2023, so a lot of projects were held back. That's why we're not going to get that's why we're not going to get Beyond the Spider-Verse until 2027. Can you believe it? That's crazy. But you know what? That'll be the next big thing I wait for, probably, that I know of. Now, I suppose, obviously if you couldn't tell right now, I love the movie. I thought it was great. But I imagine you want me to elaborate more. So, I shall. At the end of Dead Reckoning, the goal is clear. Ethan Hunt has this key that will unlock a door that will allow him to grab the item that will allow him to stop the entity, which is that AI program that that everyone was talking about in the first movie. Here's the thing, though: the door to this item is at the very bottom of the ocean in a submarine that lies, as it turns out, in the Bering Sea, in the Arctic Ocean. I think it's in the Arctic Ocean. Point is, it's very cold. And you have no idea how long I've waited to see this movie in terms of how are they going to get this done. Because remember, this is Mission Impossible. And now it's Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. You not only have to really live up to the word impossible, but you got to give us a big bombastic, gargantuan finale that's going to wrap up this series of movies, that's going to leave the audience feeling completely satisfied, make us feel all the feels, and give us an experience that we're going to remember forever. And you know what? To quote the movie, in terms of the director, Christopher McQuarrie, and Tom Cruise, who plays Ethan Hunt, he did it. That son of a bitch actually did it. Because, my God, this was incredible. It's hard for me to talk. That's the problem with talking about good movies. Like, I never want to see bad movies. I don't want to be mad. I don't want to be upset if I see a bad movie. So I want to feel good. I want to feel good. I want the people watching this feel good. I want everybody to feel happy and stuff. And yeah, to Christopher McQuarrie, the director, it actually reminds me. Right from the very beginning, I knew this movie was going to be good. Why? Because, well, keep in mind, I think you're only going to see this if you go to a theater to see the movie. But before the movie starts, we get a message from the man himself, Tom Cruise. He's like, "Hi, I'm Tom Cruise. Thank you for coming to see this movie. Myself, the director Christopher McQuarrie, all the staff worked really hard to make this movie and allow this to be seen on the big screen, the way it was meant to be seen." Right then and there, I knew this movie was going to be good. Because you got to remember, hold on, let me look up one thing real fast. My computer mouse is in my backpack, which is right there. I'm just too lazy to get it out. Yeah. The first one of these movies came out on May 20... My God, it was literally 29 years ago yesterday. 29 years ago yesterday, the first Mission Impossible movie was released in theaters. Let's see. Tom Cruise is 62 years old right now. So he was 33 years old when he made the first Mission Impossible movie way back in 1996. And look where we are now. Again, so the first two Mission Impossible movies came out when I was too young to see them in theaters. Mission Impossible 3 came out, but I had no interest in seeing it. So, yeah. That's, my God, 29 years ago. That's insane. That's a lot. This is a series that's lasted nearly 3 decades. And I mean, yeah, some people don't think the second Mission Impossible movie is good. And personally, I've never seen it. But I guarantee you, if I were to see it, or get a genuine, I'm sure there'd be some good things to like. Full stop. I guarantee you, on a very consistent basis, these movies are very good. Actually, at least from Ghost Protocol onwards. The first 3 movies, I would probably say are the weakest, from what I've heard. Not that they're bad, per se. I would think on Rotten Tomatoes, they average out 60% of Rotten Tomatoes. Which, that was actually one thing that was bothering me. If you go to Rotten Tomatoes right now, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning has a score of 80. Which is pretty great, actually. No problems there. But, you got, Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, Fallout, Dead Reckoning. They're all in the 90s. I'm like, why is this one not getting as high a score as the others? And there might be a few reasons. For starters, this movie's long. This movie is 2 hours and 49 minutes. If you're going to see this movie, you definitely want to make plans to see it. And, if you have don't see this in the evening. Like, that will kill your eat. Like, I saw this yesterday afternoon, right at 4 o'clock. Which is a funny story. I actually walked in the wrong theater, and I thought, because the movie was playing in 2 different theaters, I walked in the wrong theater, and like, how did I miss the previews already? No, this is the 3 o'clock showing. Oh, okay. So go to the 4 o'clock showing. Okay. So I didn't miss anything. Thank God. So this movie is long. And 2 hours and 49 minutes is, again, not a very short runtime. But you know what? You're wrapping up 29 years worth of good movies. You need something of that length to finish everything. I mean, that's what they did with Avengers Endgame. You know, you need that. On top of all that, I think some people will probably cringe at I thought the dialogue was fine, but I definitely see some people kind of be like at the dialogue. Here's an example. There's one thing that Haley Atwell's character needs to do in the blink of an eye, 100 milliseconds, which is the blink of an eye. And they really kind of emphasize that line a little bit too much. Not for me, but some people probably cringe that. And also, they do work the title into the movie several times. Like, this is your final reckoning. Like, they say final reckoning several times in the movie. Which, I mean, listen, I'm a sucker for that, man. I'm like Peter Griffin, like, oh, he said it. He said the thing. He said the thing. So I imagine that's probably going to be, that might rub people the wrong way. On top of that, you also have, again, some of the action sequences, which, don't get me wrong, this is Mission Impossible. Of course, there are things in this movie that are quite literally impossible to do. But you gotta remember, like, this is a movie. This isn't real, it's fiction. You know, I guarantee, I mean, literally Tom Cruise said before the movie starts, isn't Tom Cruise, and, you know, Christopher McQuarrie, and everyone else behind this movie all worked really hard to give you the best experience that we possibly could to be seen on the big screen the way it was meant to be seen. I have no doubt that they did everything they possibly could to give us the movie that we wanted to have. And on that front alone, this movie was worth watching. Full stop. Again, there's just some things that you're going to have to be willing to, to have a little bit of suspension of disbelief. But take out that part and you're fine. Actually, if you're wondering what this is my headphones thing. Just notice that. Let me move that away for you. Actually, I'm going to need my computer in a second. What am I doing? So, yeah. You know, when it came to that dinner I went to on Wednesday night, which was great, and I'll remember that for a long time, but I waited, like, I knew that dinner was happening like several months in advance. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is something I waited 2 years to, actually, okay, not quite 2 years. It was Dead Reckoning came out on July 12th, 2023. This is May 23rd. So, just about, like, almost 2 full years. Like, I waited a long time for this movie to come out. And, you know, it lived up to the hype. It did. I mean, when I look back on all the movies I've seen at the end of this year, you know, I'm sure Sinners will be the thing that's talked about most. I'm sure I'll definitely will. But, and you know what? I think that might be another reason why this movie's not getting the critics' reviews it really should be getting. Because if you compare this movie to a movie like Sinners, from, you know, a storytelling perspective and, you know, thematically, yeah, Sinners would probably be considered the better movie. But considering that this movie was quite literally 29 years in the making. From the first Mission Impossible movie, May 22nd, 1996, which they do reference 1996 in the movie. Actually, that's one beautiful thing about this movie I forgot to say. There's a lot of throwbacks to all the other Mission Impossible movies, and it's all well done. Like, they really pulled out all the stops to try and give us a movie that was worthy of calling it the final reckoning. And good Lord, they did it. They did it. You've got no complaints from me, man. So to Tom Cruise, Christopher McQuarrie, Haley Atwell, Pom Clemente, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, all the amazing men and women that made this movie, you know what? I doubt any of them are going to watch this, but if they are, thank you. You gave me an experience I waited a long time to see. I've got no complaints from me, and you know, it's been a while since I've said this, but I have a tiering list. Well, what do I think is S tier? Think of it this way. I live in a world where I've gotten to see Lord of the Rings: Return of the King on the big screen. I got to see Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 2 on the big screen. I've gotten to see not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5, yes, I'm including the new Avengers movies on the big screen. Like, I am very, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. You know, there are people that wait so long and start counting down the days until they get to see the movie they always wanted to see. I mean, there are people that thought that way about Phantom Menace. There are people that thought that way about Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which factually aren't very good movies, but, I mean, people waited for them, and some people actually really do like them. So you can't really ignore their impact on pop culture. Me personally, you know, I love this. This was everything I wanted to see and more. So, again, Tom Cruise, Christopher McQuarrie, Haley Atwell, Pom Clemente, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, everyone who worked on this movie. Oh, Nick Offerman's in this movie. And Angela Bassett's in this movie too. Nick Offerman, Angela Bassett. Again, so many people in this movie. Thank you. You guys pulled it off. I'm going to remember I saw this movie in the theater forever. I'm going to put this video on the internet where it will be forever, so everybody knows. For the record, and that's not even everything I did yesterday. Later after that, I saw Country Chaos at the Beefeater Tavern, which, you know what, Beefeaters, you guys were awesome. I loved your Dominator wings. You guys, you know what, you guys are a top 5 wing for me in the 607. I need to make an updated list at some point, but you guys totally are. And I got to see Country Chaos again, which is awesome. That's my 3rd time seeing it. I mean, technically, again, there were Taste of Chaos, but you know what? Whether it's Country Chaos or Taste of Chaos, you gotta love the chaos, man. It was awesome. It was great to see that band again. And all of that was just yesterday. Including the dinner, that was 2 days. Out of 100. Like, I had to look back on, like, what happened when was the last time I did the State of My Being address? And it was like in February. It was 23 days, 23, 100 minus 23 is 77, minus 30 from April would be 47, minus 31 would be 16. Yeah, it was like February 12th, like right before Valentine's Day. My God, man. In the last 100 days, I got through Valentine's Day, which I was able to redeem myself from the year before. St. Patrick's Day happened. Easter happened. Mother's Day happened. I got the... Gosh, I went on my first St. Pat. What did happen? You know what? I'm going to get out my... hold on. I need to go back a ways. it would be February 12th, right? So, I made a whole bunch of pickles. Again, got through Valentine's Day, did the celebration of life for Tally Sutton, got invited to a baptism party. You guys know who you are. Cabin fever happened. The bourbon tasting I went to at Illegal Tap House. As well, the first time I saw Country Chaos at Zach's Grill in Pine City. Rita's opens for the season on everything I just did so far was in February, by the way, after the 12th, which is insane. I tried Giuseppe's and Corny for the first time, as well as got to see Blue Eyed Soul to celebrate Mardi Gras, which all of Lent happens, of course. Saw Country Gas at the Illegal Tap House again. Well, Country Gas again, but it was the first time at the Illegal Tap House. I went to my first St. Patrick's Day parade. My grandfather turned 91. I went to a Crown Royal tasting at Wrecked. The bar crawl I just mentioned, which took place on the Ides of March. Had Cousin's Maine Lobster a couple of times. Filled out my March Madness bracket. I watched the College Wrestling National Championships. What else happened? Went to this one shootout for a basketball camp that a dear friend of mine was doing at the Arnhem Mall. Shout out to Wally's Hall of Fame. Saw the day the Earth blew up. All the movies I've seen took place in the last 100 days. Holy cow. Went to probably the only Live After 5 I'll be able to go to that took place at First Arena, and tried Manzari's for the first time. Let's see. Well, I walked into that one 90s party. There was a couple times I almost got to check off a certain item on my 2025 bucket list, but you know what? That's fine. That'll come at some point. Let's see what happened. Let's see. Went to the opening of the K-Ray Salon and Spa, as well as went to a bunch of softball games and flag football games. Let's see. I'm trying to go. Does Palm Sunday happen? I'm sorry, I'm trying to, celebrate my brother's birthday too. Went to the opening of the Dairy Barn. Let's see. Went to the E. Oliver Candle Company 1 year anniversary of being open. Again, Easter happens. Trying to think. I've had a few Rita's items like their Coke, their Cola Ice, Skittles Ice, pistachio custard, Chocolberry thin ice. Those are all really good. I went to the opening of Turks. That's in Big Flats now. It wasn't Horses. Now it's in Big Flats. Went to a Jack Daniels tasting. Went to the Last Stand, not for their 10th anniversary celebration. Went to 1894 for their Jim Tan Tap House party. Went to a friend's baby shower. Let's see what else. Saw Thunderbolts, which is now the new Avengers. I did my first polar bear plunge. Well, second polar bear plunge ever, but first one ever in Seneca Lake, which I jumped into Seneca Lake for the first time. Probably the first person. I'm probably the only person in my family that's jumped in Seneca Lake. Can you believe that? Saw Blue-Eyed Soul that same day. Saw the Kentucky Derby. Went to Cheese Fest at Gridiron Brewing Company. Let's see. Saw the movie Sinners. Saw the movie Nonas. Again, Mother's Day happened. Probably wish a whole bunch of people I know that are moms a happy Mother's Day like 100 times. I went to the senior nights for flag football and softball. They were a lot of fun and emotional. Yeah. And the last couple days I went to, that one dinner at Illegal Tap House, which featured Duckhorn Vineyards. And, literally everything I talked about earlier was yesterday, which, holy cow, I've been doing this video for like 35 minutes. I should probably wrap this up. I did a lot in the last 100 days. And there's so much to look. Seriously, my summer, I could argue, is quite literally starting today. I'm going back to seriously, 24 hours from now, you're going to see a much different background. And I'm going to be wearing my swim trunks. Yes, I'm going to be back up there. Just that alone, today's already going to be awesome. There's Memorial Day this weekend, 4th of July is this weekend. There's so much stuff going on. And that's actually one thing that I didn't mention. In the last 100 days, I did all those things. And while they were great, the one thing that made them truly special was the people. Actually, you know what? I also got to say Hypno and Humor. I went to Hypno and Humor at Illegal Tap House. It's the people. The people are who always make a difference when it comes to the things I wanted. Even if here's the thing. I wind up doing things I want to do. And it's great when I do accomplish them. And I do feel fulfilled when I accomplish them. But when the right people are there, and for the most part, it's just being lucky if they are even there. But when they are, that's what makes the experience truly worthwhile. So, to all the people, and you guys know who you are, who had been with me at anything I just mentioned earlier, in terms of what I've done for the last 100 days. And again, you guys know who you are. Thank you. I honestly don't think I would be nearly as happy as I am right now if it wasn't for you. I really wish I didn't have the power. I have the policy of not naming names so I don't embarrass or offend anyone. And I want to keep up that, mentality. But trust that I do see you guys. And I truly do appreciate everything you've done for me. Whether it was simply posting words of encouragement or hanging out, just out of sheer luck that, being in the right place in the right time. Again, it's the people. It's the people that make the difference. And I couldn't be where I am without all of you. I tell you what, it's hard for me to say whether or not yesterday was better than day 2399 when that's 300 days ago. I was in Colorado doing this State of My Being address video. It's hard for me to decide which of those two was better. Not that, I mean, I loved every State of My Being address video I've ever done. I always felt good about doing it. Well, that's another thing. I said at the beginning of this video, I do the State of My Being address to elaborate how I'm feeling. And, I mean, look, I literally just explained what I've done in the last 100 days. You better believe I'm feeling happy right now. Even if it's cold and rainy. You know, it may be cold and rainy outside now, but you know what? It's going to pass. Brighter days for summer are going to be coming our way, and I'm excited. And it starts today. It may not happen right away. And yeah, there's going to be some ups and downs. But that's how life works. And I don't think I'd have that any other way. So, yeah. I'm supposed to elaborate how I'm feeling. TLDR, pretty darn good right now. I hope you'll like this video. And if you did, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on social media. As always, as I've said pretty much the last 2,700 days, I am beyond humbled that I was able to make this video for all of you guys watching. Enjoy for today. I hope we have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. And remember, if you guys want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend you know. Always have your back. Take care. And, of course, make good choices. 607 all day, baby.